thunderstorms can turn out good or bad, and this one was a real violent squall.
Hi guys, when I heard that a yacht was sinking at the coast of Sicily, I thought, oh wow, has that anything to do with the volcano, with Etna, because that had just erupted again? That was just my thinking, because the way it was described, it did sound strange. Why would a yacht like this sink like this? So I started looking it up, and you might wonder, if you're new here, on my channel, I report about the volcanic eruptions in Italy a lot, about underwater volcanoes, about the Campi Flegrei supervolcano, about Etna on Sicily that's erupting all the time. So when I heard that, it caught my eye, especially since I have spent most of my life on boats. My parent had a yacht, and I know what it means to be inside of a boat during a storm. Of course, we didn't have a yacht like this, a $56 million super yacht, but it's the same, right? You know how this feels. And that a boat like this would sink that quickly, it raises a few questions, and I don't think the answer is very, very simple. The experts, or some experts, some engineers, boat engineers, they have come up with some theories. The manufacturer itself thinks there is something else at play that doesn't make sense. So let's have a look at the facts as of today. What is happening and what do we know? Who are the missing? Who are the rescued? What has happened to this day? So there is a search operation that is continuing off the coast of Sicily after this mega yacht was sinking. It's flagged with a British flag, and it was a luxury yacht that sank, how they reported, during a freak weather early on Monday morning. Some say it's like a water sprout, like a water tornado. We'll get to this in a minute. So there were 22 people on board of the yacht, and 15 of these people were rescued from the boat. This is quite a high number if you consider how quickly the boat sank. So 7 people went missing then, and for a time they thought maybe they're down in the cabins of the boat. Maybe there is like an air hole where they're still alive, and they tried to find them. They're at a depth of about 50 meters, I believe, and they sent divers down there, but the divers can't stay down there very long. And you have to consider there's a lot of debris floating around inside the boat, and there's like cables and wires and stuff like this, so it's dangerous for the divers, and they don't have much time down there. So they had to go down there multiple times, and they were able to recover 6 of the people that went down with the boat. And of course there was no hope to rescue them, if you know what I mean. So the divers are continuing the search right now to also get the last person out of that boat. And so the British businessman, his name is Mike Lynch, he was among those whose bodies were found. That's what a source of the family has told the news. And also the yacht's chef, Ricardo Thomas, was recovered. There was swiftly on Monday, they said that one body they recovered was to be the chef, but it seems that this was wrong. Of the 5 more people that were recovered, they could only identify Mr. Lynch so far. He was a tech entrepreneur, and so he was regarded by many as Britain's Bill Gates. So it was a very, very strange incident, and there's a surveillance video of that night, and that is the guy who submitted that surveillance video said that he has 20 surveillance cameras at his house, but it seems they were all compromised by the rain and by the weather, and only this one seemed to work. My first thought is 20 surveillance cameras around a house in Sicily. Oh my gosh, what is what's going on there, right? Is this so dangerous here, or is this guy whatever? So it was a little bit strange, but thankfully he has that surveillance footage, and you see the yacht, you see the lights, you see the top light on the mast, and then it seems the boat is disappearing, but to me this looks just like the rain and the wind is just covering it, making the camera blurry. And there was also another boat anchoring, and it was a German guy from what I know, and they were trying to weather the storm, and they said, well, they were watching the Bayesian, or how you pronounce that, Bayesian, I'm just call it Bayesian, whatever. They were watching the Superyacht, and they were trying to weather the storm. They turned on their engines to try, so they were anchoring, but they were trying so that the storm wouldn't push them on their anchor towards the other boat. You have to know, if you anchor a boat, you have to give the anchor and the line from the boat, it has to have some space, because if the anchor is down here and you have a straight line up to the boat and there's higher waves coming, it lifts up your anchor and then your boat is moving. So you have to have a little bit of a longer line when you're on anchor, and then depending on the wind, it can push you a little bit further into one direction. So you always have to take this in consideration. If you go on anchor where there's other boats already, you have to keep your distance. So they were turning on their engine to try to put the boat in the right direction, and they were watching the Bayesian, and they said all of a sudden the boat was gone. It disappeared. So there's another crew, another boat that has seen, well, not really seen, but that has, I would say, witnessed the disappearance. So what could have happened? So we know that this yacht had a very tall mast. So many people said, well, maybe it was the mast, it was an aluminum mast. Of course, if there's strong winds or something, it blows against the mast. And first, the theories were, did the mast break? But had it broken, that would not have caused the ship to sink. That would actually have been, I wouldn't say better, but would have given less front for the wind to touch, right? So the thing is, this boat seems to have a keel that is retractable, which is, in my opinion, oh gosh, I wouldn't like that at all. I get it. For me, the only sense would be if you want to go, I mean, it's a big boat, and Italy, Sicily, islands, there's lots of smaller ports or even areas, right? So if you want to go into a port, you can lift up your keel so that if the port is more shallow, you still can enter. Because this boat had a keel that's about 9 meters. This is what they're saying. So you have to have that keel, right, in order to stabilize the boat, especially if you have such a tall mast and you set your sails, right? So some theories are, it seems they might have lifted up the keel while they were anchoring, because if the keel is lifted up, there is a hull around it. And if it's, they say, if it's down and there's water pressing against the keel, it makes noise inside the boat and it's not so comfortable to sleep in. And I'm like, oh, for me, it's like, oh my God, right? Never ever would I lift up my keel, not, especially not if I have such a tall mast and a sailboat. I mean, when I looked at the sailboat, my first impression was, yeah, it seems to lie good in the water, how it's streamlined, and it seems that a lot of its gravity, a lot of its weight is at the waterline or below the waterline. So it's not how my dad always used to say, a swimming caravan, a swimming RV, with most of the inside space above the waterline. Those are convenient because you can look out and you're not so far down. It's great, but it's like camping on the water. If you really want to sail the oceans, this is not good. You don't want to capsize, right, and flip over. You need a lot of weight, a lot of point of gravity down there below, and that's why this boat had this keel. So let's assume the keel was up and then the wind blows against that mast. That could capsize the boat. And then if they made the mistake and didn't close all cabin openings, doors, everything that gives access to the boat inside, the water comes in very, very quickly. And what they're showing everywhere in the press, they're showing an example video somewhere else where there was a storm. There was a catamaran that was flipping over. You see it in this video. But that is not comparable with a boat like the Bayesian. This is a catamaran. It doesn't have a tall, heavy keel. These things flips. These things are made to be fast on top of the water. But the other boat that you see the wind pushing it to the side, but then it has a keel that gives it weight on the other side, so it lifts it back up. It's like if I'm on a whip, right? And if my weight is balanced. If it's not balanced anymore, then the whip stays like this. One stays sitting on top of it, right? So ideally, you always want to have a boat that if you capsize, we call it capsizes through, because the keel has enough weight. So if everything is closed, all the doors towards the inside is closed, a heavy long keel will make it turn around and stand up again. But if there's an opening where the water can come in, you're doomed. And if they have lifted up the keel, that is very, very bad, so to speak, with a mast like this. So I would never, ever, ever retract that keel. And I have to say, I don't want to be a Weisenheimer or anything. Even if I had the money to buy a $56 million yacht, I would know my boat, and I would know everything, and I would know what needs to be done in what weather situation. I never would rely on just someone else there. But I get it. They were having a party there, it seems, because he had just won a lawsuit where he was accused of something. Let's not get into this. But the thing is, there was a weather warning. So they could have gotten away from this. They could have gone into the port. But they chose to anchor there. Maybe because they wanted privacy for that party. They wanted to make noise. And they thought, well, with a boat like this, what can happen? But wouldn't you put the keel down? So what we're waiting for right now is really information from the divers and the robots that are down there. Is the keel inside, or was the keel down? If the keel was down in the water, it is very, very strange that boat did sink so fast. One thing that I find concerning, if I look at the design of the boat, if you look at this big white cover with the glass windows around, this is the top area of the boat where many yachts like this, if you look at the Wally or yachts like this is an open space outdoor area. But this area was covered by a large fabric, so to speak. You could call it a tent. It's of course a very durable fabric. And then there's windows all around. But is this really stable enough to withstand if the boat gets to the side and a wave pushes against these windows? Because there's only a fabric on top, could there get water in? Could the fabric tear and then give wind a chance to get underneath the fabric? And then that has a total different dynamic. That can move the boat completely different. If you see anchoring boats, even if they have no sails set, but they have some like a cabin entrance cover or something, and the wind blows under this, it starts moving the boat. Some boats are circling. It changes the dynamics. So, and this is a massive, massive tent. So I'm wondering, did this play a role? Did it burst? Or did they think, oh, everything around this is closed? Did they maybe then not close the door towards the cabins that was inside that covered tent area? And then the boat flipped over, the tent broke, these windows broke because the windows are not in a dense hull like normally other windows that are in boats like this. It's just in a tent construction. In my opinion, not that durable. So they thought everything's closed, but left the main entrance towards the boat open because they thought it's covered. And then the water could get in there. And you have to look at the construction underneath the tent. It goes down. It forms like like a sunken seating area, like a pool, if that fills with water. But still, it is mysterious. So what I want to know is, it seems that they have confirmed they found the wreckage, the mast is intact. So that was not the problem. I would like to know first the keel, and then what happened with that tent structure. So the mystery is going on, guys. So I thought I would let you know about this in a quick video. I'm preparing a more detailed and technical update about all of this. So this is basically, let's call it an introduction video in a longer series. I want to follow this up because this is something, you know, I think my subscribers that came through the Titan submersible disaster as subscribers, you guys are probably interested in that. And I think for all my other viewers, I mean, it's not a volcano, but it is in an area that we're watching because of the volcano. And I think it's an interesting story. And that's why I want to follow up with this. And I hope you're with me and you like this kind of video. And especially for me, since I've been sailing all my life. I've been on boats all my life. So I'm very, very surprised that a boat like this would disappear so quickly by that kind of storm. And as we've seen, the boat next to it weathered the storm just fine. So it must have been, I think, not only one fatal flaw, there must be, I don't know, a coexistence of many unfortunate, stupid things or mistakes that have been made that caused this. So I will follow up with this, guys. The volcano in Iceland erupted today. Massive, impressive eruption. Check out my videos about this. It's worth it. And guys, leave this video a like, subscribe if you're new here, leave me a comment. Do you want to see an update or not? And I would like to interact with you on that topic because and I know some of my viewers live on a boat, and by the way, stay safe. We just talked about, you said 60 miles per hour is wind gusts. So yeah, guys, as I say, always be prepared and be safe. My heart goes out to you, and I hope to see you very, very soon by this channel, by On the Pulse with Silky, or with On the Pulse with Silky, or whatever the right word for that is. You know what I mean, guys. It's very late. I've been producing videos all day about the volcano in Iceland, so if I'm not talking grammatically correct, so please forgive me. I guess you know what I mean. So the doggies are angry at me. They want their food now. They're like, what are you doing all day making these videos? So I'm off for a little bit, but I will be back. I promise this to you guys. I hope you will be back too. Bye-bye.